Cardi B finally copping to the fact that there was no real beef between her and Nicki Minaj be the proof that you need that people know what they're doing. People know that there are no problems. People know that there was probably like a small misunderstanding that could be cleared up with a quick conversation, but the drama and the attention that they get from being associated with you, even if it's in a negative way, is too delicious for them. There's too much of a dopamine hit. For some people, there's too much money involved with beefing with you for them to just drop it.
Or just the thought of being attached to some type of drama is just, it's embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing. It's extremely embarrassing. I don't want to be associated with it. I don't want to be attached to it. And most importantly, I believe in ignoring it. You know, imagine someone thinks that they're going to start some random one-sided issue with you just to end up getting ignored. Like, imagine how disappointing that is when someone thinks that they're going to attach your name to some type of disgusting issue that they're trying to create. They're going to attach your name to some type of nasty narrative, some very, very aggressive, drama-filled, ghetto-fied narrative, and you ignore them and you don't attach yourself to it. They just get ignored. That is... You know, beef, drama, altercations, I don't know. I think that stuff is very classless. It's classless. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. I don't know, you guys. I think that stuff is just very classless. Like, just even involving yourself in it. It's like, please don't get your hands dirty. Drama, back and forth, beef. A lot of people really are so desperate to have an issue with you because that's really the only way they're going to feel important. That's the only way they're going to feel like they're a peer to you. And they are a peer to you if you decide to engage in whatever wild, extreme retaliation, weird, one-sided thing that they have going on. Just don't be a part of it. Just don't be a part of it. Just take yourself out of it, you know, because it comes with an agenda attached to it, an agenda of, I want to steal some of your light. You got a lot of attention. I want some of the attention that you have. I want to put it on me. You know, a lot of people are fond of you. So I'm going to just randomly start this problem with you so people can attach your name to something negative. You guys, especially you ladies that are trying to level up, gentlemen that are leveling up, just please ignore it. Ignore it. Ignore it. Okay? Use Beyonce as your example for this tactic. Just ignore it. Ignore it. And when they are trying to start a drama with you and you ignore it, they're going to feel extremely embarrassed. And then they're going to try to bait you and say, oh, well, she's just scared. He's just scared. She just doesn't want the truth. He just doesn't. No, ma'am, you're getting ignored. Point, period, blank. Boo-hoo. You're going to get ignored. It has nothing to do with nobody's scared of anything. Nobody's scared of anyone. The reality is you have to protect the integrity of your brand and protect the integrity of yourself as a person. You don't want to always be attached to something negative. So learn how to ignore people, especially when their agenda is to just give you a negative essence because of what they're trying to create, the drama. Beef just literally, it declasses your brand. Yeah. Beef declasses your brand. It really does. When you're responding to people who have an issue with you, especially people who don't really matter to you, you're declassing yourself. And if you have a brand, you're declassing your brand. Now, I really like Nicki Minaj. I do. Because I like women who work hard. A lot of women, when they hear me say I like Nicki Minaj, they bring up her husband. They bring up all these things about her. What does any of that have to do with a woman who works hard? And that's going to be women's biggest challenge in life. Women have a hard time thinking in a multi-dimensional way. Women have a hard time with duality and a hard time realizing two things can be true at once. What on earth does her husband or what she has personally, what does that have to do with her work ethic? I'm talking about work ethic. What are you talking about? The reason why the women that get upset at me about Nicki Minaj when I say I like Nicki Minaj is because women don't respect work ethic. Women don't respect work ethic because a lot of women don't have a work ethic. Women are not expected to work well. That's why they go after the woman that does. Women don't really respect the hustle. They don't get it. So they'll never understand. They're thinking, well, yeah, she works, but what about her husband? It's like women are usually very drama focused. Her and her husband and her whatever else she has going on. I'm talking about work. And she works well, and I will forever admire her for that because she pushed herself, and I think that that's a very beautiful thing. Any woman that pushes themselves, it's beautiful and it's to be celebrated because it's not expected. If you don't resonate or align with my teachings, then my content is not for you. Avoid commenting, subscribing, or interacting. Instead, go to a page where you resonate. If you comment something foul, disrespectful, or like something foul or disrespectful, you will be blocked. I will also block you if you comment any contradictory to my message. I don't post for your agreement, so please think about that before you run and comment, I don't agree. Think about that. It doesn't matter. I post what I am led to post. Your agreement or okay was never needed. I don't need your permission. Let's get into it. Women will do the bare minimum and get claps for doing the bare minimum. But women who push themselves to the farthest extent, it's like, wow, like that's okay. So you're not just slapping on makeup and straightening your hair. You're really embodying that power. So why do I say that beef declasses your brand? Beef will declass your brand, and some women will purposefully want to start a fight with you because it's going to give them more popularity if they do. And it's going to up their numbers. Is on her path of success. And you guys, I'm going to be talking about Nicki Minaj a lot within the next couple of weeks, up until the Weaponizing Your Masculinity masterclass. I have a couple of other women that are absolutely amazing. And I'm also going to be having a lot of men that I will be using examples of masculinity being used in a healthy way. Partially because I want women to see what healthy masculinity looks like. I want women to see you take your anger out into your hustle, not on other women, not on other men. You don't take your anger and frustrations out on other people. Put it in your work. Put it in the work. But women have not been taught that. They've been taught to resent and go after. Whatever they're feeling, they resent and go after and destroy. That is not how you use your feelings, and that is not how you use your masculine energy. It's not by destroying or bullying. It's by put it in the work, And a lot of times when women hear the word work, they don't like that word because it requires you to get up off your seat and put your money where your mouth is, right? So when it comes to Nicki Minaj, I think that, I'm going to be honest, Nicki, if you ever hear this, I've always liked you since I was in middle school. So it's nothing personal, what I'm about to say. It's not an attack. It's not a dig. You are the standard. If you ever hear this, you are the standard. Never forget that. You are the standard. So you don't go back and forth with people who are not your peers. If you choose to go back and forth, it has to be with a peer. Those women are not your peers. They're not there yet to be considered a peer. But here's what I will say. I like Nicki Minaj's brand, and I like her music, and I like her hustle, and I think she's very smart and very articulate, and she does well in interviews, and she's a great speaker, and she's very creative. But there's just one thing. I feel like the constant beefs have, in a way, declassed her brand, as a brand in totality. Because what Nikki has to understand is every time you respond to these women and you go back and forth with them, they're going to continue to feed that false narrative that they're creating. And some people will say, well, if everybody's saying the same thing, doesn't that make it true? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. People got together and crucified Jesus. They all got together and put him on that cross. So you're going to say that God is a liar? He's a liar? Because a bunch of people got together because they couldn't handle his power and they crucified him. He's a liar then? You're wrong. Just because a bunch of people are gathering together against one person, it doesn't mean that the person they're going after is the problem. A lot of them are probably all the same types of people. Why? How do you think smear campaigns work against a target? All these people get together to go after one person. So no, that's not always the case. I think what these women do is they purposefully align themselves with Nikki. They know Nikki will give them a response. They know Nikki will give them a reaction. And then they get her to react. And then they put her reaction in the "see, we told you she was a problem," bin, and they gaslight her. It's mental abuse. It's a form of mental and emotional abuse. But guess what? Nikki lets herself be available to these women's antics because she acknowledges them. Beyonce doesn't really acknowledge people. So good luck starting a beef with her. You can't declass her brand because she's never going to respond to you. You're always going to get ignored. You're never going to be acknowledged. So women rarely get up one day and try to beef with Beyonce. It's not fun for them because they're not going to get anything out of it. They're just going to get ignored. They're just going to get ignored while she's on a table with the upper echelon working on some new perfume line. You're going back and forth on your Twitter account arguing with yourself. And that's what helps protect the integrity of her brand. And a lot of people say, well, why are all these top-notch people, why are none of them responding? Because it's going to declass their brand if they do. They don't have to respond because the person that is trying to trigger the individual to get the individual to respond, they're going to declass your brand. And that's why I said, I think that, I don't know, as I'm getting older, beef is just, it's just classless. I don't know. I just think that, get somebody else to do it, get somebody else to go back and forth. I don't care. If we're not like friends or family, or you're not a super important person to me, I'll probably ignore it. I won't acknowledge it because it's classless. And I'm serious, you guys. If you start viewing yourself, as a person who's full of integrity and light, you're going to ignore people because it's like once you start playing with pigs, you get dirty. So people who don't have their own weight, who are not that interesting. I think women who are really not that interesting, or men who are not that interesting, they pick a fight with the person that is interesting. This is what people do because they don't have the it factor. So they're going to go after the person that has the it factor and just ignore them. And then they're going to just embarrass themselves because they're not going to get a response. And the people that hop on the train they created, they didn't like you anyway. So, one less person to worry about. That's why I always tell people, don't fear smear campaigns. It's one less person to worry about. Oh, you're on her team? Good. One less person to worry about. That's how you have to see it. They're not a loss. People that believe lies about you are not a loss. It's a gain because they don't get to be in your face anymore, faking it with you. It's not a loss. It's a gain. But you have to get to a point, you guys, where you understand that a lot of people are just starting issues with you, and there's really not an issue there. There's really not a problem there. They just want to declass you. They want to keep picking fights with you, so your reputation turns into, oh, she's the girl that's always in some type of drama. They want to put that stamp on you so people don't work with you. Nobody wants to work with a problematic person. So even if you're not problematic, the fact that many people bait you and you take the bait, they're going to get to label you problematic now, even though you're not. You're just reacting to somebody that is trying to go after you. You're just reacting, but they're not going to see it that way. They're going to slap the "you're problematic" headline on your forehead. And everybody else who is also insecure about you is going to jump on the bandwagon. That's why you have to ignore people. When you ignore them, your brand stays clean. people still want to work with you. Because guess what? The person that's picking the fight, because you didn't respond, people are going to be like, why are you always picking fights with people? Don't you have like a yoga class or something you can sign up for? Like, find yourself something better to do. They tarnish their own brands because people are going to realize, wait, why are you always picking fights with people? Like, people are going to, but if you respond to the bait, you're going to declass your brand. And I really saw Nikki doing makeup, like Morphe, like doing a collaboration with Morphe. Like, Nikki would wear all these bright colors, all this bright makeup, all this cool makeup. Like, let's get Nikki and Sephora. Like, let's call it Pink Friday. Let's call the makeup brand Pink Friday. Let me get on Nikki's PR team. Let's upscale her, please. Upscale her. She's the standard. You don't argue with people who aren't your peers. You can't compete with people who aren't your peers. They have to fight to become the standard, which you are. There's really nothing to acknowledge there. And this goes back to when you start engaging in these one-sided competitions with people, you are telling the one-sided competitor that they're on your level by even acknowledging them. That's what you're doing. Let's get Nicki Minaj in Sephora, and let's get her in Ulta, and let's get a Pretty in Pink makeup line started, Nikki. Let's get you started on that makeup line. Let's upscale you. Let's get you into new heights, because we already know your music's gonna make numbers. You're gonna run laps with your music anyways, because Nicki Minaj has that old school hustle. You guys have to understand, Nicki Minaj has been making music since 2002. She has that old school hustle. The new generation of women can't really hustle like that because they're not encouraged to. They're encouraged to get by. But Nicki Minaj has that old school hustle. She has that Beyonce and Kim Kardashian hustle. Notice all those women are in the same generation. They're in their 40s. Those women were raised on, you better work your butt off. That's how that generation of women operated. Okay, every woman I know in her 40s, those women can work because that generation didn't allow you to just get by. But the younger the women are, the more lazy they are, because it's a different generation. It's a generation where work ethic is not pushed because they're being raised on AI and ChatGPT, and they're being raised on social media, and they're not out there in the field getting that work in. So they don't really know how to keep up. Same thing with the men. A lot of women are complaining about the men. These are not our fathers and grandfathers who would be cutting the grass at 6 a.m. or up on the roof replacing the cracked roofing tiles. That's not these type of men, ladies. Those type of men, that generation's almost wiped out. They don't really exist anymore. The new generation of men are asking you what you bring to the table, and they're asking you to bring them flowers. So you guys have to understand, work ethic and all that stuff also goes with generations. It goes with the household you were raised in. Like, I'm an island girl. So my grandmother and my father and my mother, laziness that doesn't exist. You're going to get your butt up and work. And if you're not going to work, you're going to clean this house from top to bottom. When I was a little girl, my grandmother would wake me and my brother up at 7 a.m. on Saturday mornings and say, get up and blast worship music and say, it's time to clean. Like, there was no being lazy and hanging out. That was not really a thing. So nonetheless, I think beef it's just not classy. I think it just ruins your brand. I genuinely believe that beef ruins your brand, and it really declasses your presentation. And if you fall into the trap of responding to people who want to beef with you, they're just going to win at declassing you. You have to be willing to weaponize your masculinity as a woman. Masculinity is not bad. Masculine energy is not bad. I don't know why people keep saying that. Masculine energy is the ability to reach a goal. Masculinity is what? Goal-oriented, structurally, orderly, being able to show up on times, precision, logic, rationality. Nothing about that is bad. So with the October spooky season coming around and holiday season, make sure you guys are okay being the villain. Yes, villainhood is a real thing, and that's what this class is going to talk about. We are going to speak on the characteristic traits and approaches you have to take when you are no longer living your life to be accepted and validated by people while accepting their bad behavior. Sometimes being the protector in your book looks like being a villain in another person's book. It's all a psychological mind game. If you don't choose yourself, if you don't choose your happiness, if you are not unapologetically you and winning without feeling apologetic about it, guess what? People are going to view you as a villain. But if you already walk in villainhood, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is going to be a good class, especially in conjunction with weaponizing your masculinity. You have to get comfortable with being viewed as a villain. You need a strong mental mind to accept people villainizing you because you are being and doing your best.